Amy Edmondson from Harvard Business Review says the soft skills are the hard skills. Right? Love that. Even the Harvard like on its head. Welcome back to the Culture Based Podcast. I'm Dustin, he's Blake, and we are the Culture Based. Episode 108, soft skills are a hard yes. Cannot wait to get into that conversation. See what I did there? Conversation, soft skill, pulling it all together here. Before I do that, I want to remind people that we're here at the Culture Based to help leaders know what they're about, show where they're going, and develop a scalable team to get them there. If you're interested in learning more, head to the Culture Based, that's BASE.com, and check out some free resources on the site while you're there. All right, Blake, let's get into it, right? This technical ability often gets people hired, right? Hey, can you do the work? Right. But it's the soft skills that are ultimately determine whether or not they thrive within your culture, within your organization. So a few quotes to kick us off here. Amy Edmondson from Harvard Business Review says the soft skills are the hard skills. Right. Love that. Even the Harvard on its head. Rick Stevens, SVP of HR at the Boeing Corporation. He says we hire for hard skills, but we fire for soft skills.
Man, so true.
That's probably pretty true for everybody, right? And then Peggy Kloss, she wrote the book, The Hard Truth About Soft Skills. She says that 75% of long-term job success depends on people skills, while only 25% on technical knowledge. So Blake, before we get into this, why don't you walk us through, help us define what soft skills are? We never assume, right, that people know exactly what we're talking about. We're not going to come in here throwing out all kinds of TLAs and things like that and expect
acronyms.
Expect people to understand what that means. Exactly right. I spend a lot of my meetings these days, Blake, playing interpreter from one person who thinks that everybody knows what the TLAs are. And then I just play dumb. I'm like, can you define what a KPI is, please?
Yeah.
Like, can you define the SOP? What does that mean? Like, just because, and literally yesterday I did it, and the other two people in the meeting were good. They literally, as soon as I asked the question, they go, thank God, because I had no idea what that meant. And I was just like, I know, I can see it on your faces. We have to be good at, it's part of soft skills, right? It's understanding, read the room. Part of soft skills. So Blake, why don't you walk us through what does it mean for what does soft skills mean? What does it look like? How do we see this play out in our everyday lives?
Yeah. So soft skills are interpersonal social abilities that affect how you work, communicate, and interact with others. So hard skills obviously are those technical things like coding, accounting, electrical, right? Like there are the things that you do. But the soft skills are all about how you work rather than what you know. Okay. And I 100%, I laughed a little as Dustin was talking about that quote about like soft skills are what you keep somewhere, or how you keep the job essentially, because this morning already I saw issues coming through about a team member, and guess what kind of skills they were on the issue? Showing up. Not communicating well, right? Like things like that. So you're never going to get away from this issue of soft skills, especially when this is, and this may not be popular to say, because I think everyone is defining, when we're talking about soft skills, everyone in their heads are defining, it's the younger generations. It's the Gen Zs and the alphas. Like they're the ones who need soft skills. And you're absolutely right, but not right. Absolutely. Okay. Like there is also a lot for millennials and Gen X and baby boomers, because as we talk about categories and we start to define a little more soft skills, because when I say soft skills, I have a definition of what that means. A lot of times it's just, good Lord, could you show up? Could you do your job? Like, that's all I'm asking. Like,
Attendance.
Just exist in the place you said you would exist. But everyone else has different understandings of what that is too, based off the pain they've experienced. Different cultures have different soft skill issues. Okay. But at a certain level, there needs to be some definable, agreeable characteristics. And so a couple of these things, are you cool if I kind of just highlight some of these things, Dustin?
Yeah, do it. And while you do
Two
that,
of them.
Curtains, good. Do you think?
Okay, cool. Our communication, right? Apparently, if you can't see, Dustin just decided he's going to leave. Communication, which is listening actively, speaking clearly, writing well, giving, receiving feedback effectively. The next one's like collaboration and teamwork. Like there are soft skills there about how do you work well with others? How do you share credit? How do you resolve conflicts? Or how do you even work in conflicts? Emotional
feedback is a big one there that I see often, Blake.
Yeah.
Is how to give and receive feedback. Is interesting. A quick short story real quick. My son is going through this kind of like fun technical training at our church where they kind of train in these different areas of creativity, and he's in kind of like the creative content making or whatever, right? Last session they did, and it's like a 2-hour session every week. Last session they spent the entire time on how to give and receive feedback. And I'm like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. Like, that's such an important soft skill. And there's no industry that's untouched by that.
So true.
Anyway, back at it.
No, I love that. The next one's emotional intelligence, right? Like there are soft skills around self-awareness, empathy, managing your emotions. Then we've got problem solving and critical thinking. Are some of these almost sounding, if you remember our whole series on the A player, some of these starting to sound a little similar? Like there are a lot of things that we have to build soft skills for the hard skill foundations, or the hard skill, like what you see to actually sit well. Hard skills are not the foundation. This is the thing I want to be really clear. Everyone thinks hard skills are the foundation. Soft skills are the foundation. Hard skills are the house built on the foundation, okay? And just like the best electrician, the best coder, the best content creator, if they don't show up, they don't have the foundation, doesn't matter, okay? It's not good anymore. The stuff's not getting out there. That's a problem, okay? The big one, another big one, time management. Obviously, that's the one I harp on a lot. Leadership, and then this one's big, adaptability, okay? Being open to change, learning quickly. Now, pause. Hard stop. That's not just Gen Z. It's not. It's not Gen Alpha. It's not lazy millennials. It's everyone. How many people over the age of 40, 50, 60 do you know that have a problem with adaptability?
Old dog, new tricks.
Yeah. Yep. There's even a saying. There's a saying about this. And yet we don't see that as a soft skill. We see that as a personality thing. Oh, that's just who John is, you know. He just can't learn a new thing, you know. Well, the problem is John's never grown up in adaptability. Okay. John has not matured in adaptability. John needs to mature in adaptability.
Go, John, go.
Every one of these things, what'd you say?
I said, go, John, go.
Go, John, go.
No, it was very children's book the way you read it out. John, bad at adaptability. John never grows up. John
like
needs to do better. Go, John, go. Yeah.
But even and on all these things, there are areas for myself to grow in soft skills. I know this, and I need to do better at growing in these areas. So soft skills, the thing that keep a job or that keep a customer, all of that stuff, it tends to be soft skills.
Yeah, I love it. So let's talk for a minute, Blake, about why soft skills often get overlooked, right? I think the most common response that we get to this, people hire somebody and they're like, I thought they were a good fit. They could do the job. Their resume looked immaculate. Like, what's going on? I would say, and we're going to get into, kind of like testing it in the hiring process, but people often just kind of skip right past that in the interview, right? And so I think they say that soft skills are hard to measure, but I think that's a myth because I think you're looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, it's hard to measure something when I'm not using, I actually have visual aids today, when I'm not using a tape measure.
Oh.
Right? If I'm just eyeballing it, or I'm not even considering the length, width, and height, then I don't know the answer to that. So I think the reason why people say that soft skills are so hard to identify is because they're not paying attention to them.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, totally agree, man. I mean, even our issue we're having today, it's easy for the
Let's use
frustration.
names. Let's just call them out right here on the pod. I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not. It's easy when a manager has, let's say they have 10 people, and all 10 people in 10 consecutive days miss one day. It would seem like, oh my gosh, like this is every day. Like the manager's frustration is definitely increasing, right? And so it's easy for them to get frustrated by these things and create sweeping declarations about, gosh, people are always late and blah, blah, blah. But the best thing to do is exactly what Dustin's saying. It's overlooked. Keep data. Keep data. You were late this amount of times this week. That's cause for a PIP. Let's have a discussion. Okay, you were late again. Now we're on our last warning. You were late again. Good luck. Apparently you need to be somewhere else because you can't be here.
Yeah.
So, data matters. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to just jump down here since we were talking about hiring here, but being able to test for soft skills in hiring, again, it's paying attention to it. And so I think that instead of worrying about like, am I asking the right questions to test for soft skills?
Yeah.
That you're thinking about it too much, or you're thinking about it in the wrong way, I should say. You need to be asking yourself while you're having the interview and you're focusing on the hard skills. Hey, are they approachable? Is their demeanor one of approachability? Does it seem like they care? Does it seem like they're like, can you actually carry on a conversation with them? Are they conversational? Are they good at listening during the interview? Do you ask them a question about A and they give you an answer about Z? And you're like, that's not even what I asked. So it's like listening is a big soft skill, right? I would probably even borderline it's a medium skill. Not hard, not soft, but medium. I guess it would be. Is that the density we're talking about here? Would it be medium if it's like in between? Like a good over medium egg is what I'm talking about. Anyway, but paying attention to those things in an interview are just as important, if not more important, than asking the silly questions that we give you about how they eat bags of Skittles and things like that. Like it's just as important to be like, can they listen? Can they carry on a conversation? Do they appear I say uncomfortable, but what's the words I'm looking for here? But like, are they actually like?
Are they living in tension?
There you go.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So testing for soft skills in hiring is just paying attention to those things in their answer, or like how they're answering, not necessarily in their answer. If that makes sense.
Dustin said earlier before this, and I thought this was just spot on. This is the best they're going to get. Like the best picture of what they're going to show of themselves is right here. Yeah. So like the work ethic, professionalism, they're going to raise whatever level they're at. So if there was a 1 out of 10 scale, whatever you're seeing, I would say is probably 2 higher than what's real. Yeah, right. Like, so if they're like a 7, they're probably a 5. Right. Yeah. And that's not to be like overly critical, but nature. It's already an issue. And it's a like maybe come up with your own personal, here's our soft skill requirement for the job. Here are things that we don't require as much, but here are things that we have to have, like permission to play. You got to score above this. And in the interview, like Dustin was saying, add moments of tension, add moments where in the midst of what they're saying, you change the question, change it on them, change the order of who you're asking things, like change things to see what their adaptability level is. If they're like, can you come back to me every time? Again, that doesn't mean they're not a good person. Doesn't mean that they might not even be a good fit. It just means that their ability to adapt to change might be low. And that's something to consider if you have a high changing environment that people have to be able to roll with.
That's good. That's good. So we talked about what they are, why they get overlooked, and how to look for them when you're hiring. But how about the people that are already on your team, Blake, and building these soft skills intentionally, my favorite word, into the fabric of your organization? I think we think about things like, how do we embed communication? How much in your one-on-ones, how much are you talking about the work versus how much are you talking about hard skills versus soft skills in your one-on-ones?
Yep.
Right. I actually spend most of my one-on-ones talking more about the soft skills than about the hard skills. Hard skills can be a pass by or a project meeting or something like that, where it's just like, hey, I know you gave me this, but this is what we were looking for. That's a hard skill check.
Yep.
And on one-on-one, it's that praise publicly, critique privately moment, right? For you to be able to go, hey, I noticed when we were in that meeting the other day, and John, which we all know John, go John, right? Like, John said that thing. I noticed you kind of shut down. Why is that? You know, that's a moment for them to say, oh, I didn't know that anyone noticed that. People do notice. The nonverbal part of soft skills is, I think, just as important as the verbal part. Now, it's a longer, softer type of offense than a quick verbal jab, right? But people begin to notice if you're checking out in a meeting for a variety of reasons. And so, anyway, I think the time to work on, to develop that is in those one-on-ones. We talked about feedback already, giving and receiving feedback. How are they at that? And a lot of things, Blake, I see organizations ignoring soft skill training, because I think, like you said at the beginning, that they think that that's something that they should have kind of completed through high school and college.
Yep.
But there's always something that we can be working on better, right? And so I would just say, like, do you have any soft skill training opportunities? And not even opportunities, but requirements. Like, do you have soft skill training requirements? How often are you doing that? Is there something that you can work on creatively in your weeklies or your monthlies or your quarterlies? Like, take those advantages to build out those soft skills intentionally. I want you to talk about the adaptability factor, that change factor, and how you develop and train and coach your team on that adaptability. Because, like I said, I've seen it in your work environment before. What does that look like for someone that works for you, Blake?
Yeah. So adaptability's just massive. The talking to your team about the fact that your adaptability level is not where it is as a, like, what do they call that? Where it's just like, it is what it is. That's who I am. That's like this can't grow standard. When you can talk about how we are constantly growing, like, change is always, it's the only thing that's constant is change, and that we need to continually adapt. When we can have those conversations, that means you have a standard. And then you put people in moments of tension to have to grow through that hard tension moment of adaptability. And then you coach. And then you go through the discipline, and discipline creates growth, and growth creates the peace of being able to get through moments like that. So I think there isn't some like hard, fast rule and thing that you can create. It is way more about creating moments and coaching in moments. Okay. And so anytime I have coaching calls with people and I see that they went through something, I never let that go to waste.
Ooh,
right?
That's good.
Even if it was something that had already happened, I won't let it go through waste. And so if they say something like, man, you know, they did this, and it was other people, coaching moment. Let's talk through the tension. How would you have responded if it was your issue and not theirs? Well, I never thought about it that way. And then you just start coaching in that moment. Okay. So I think it's a lot more intentionality there, but the soft skills intentionality training, I think like Dustin said, you got to be building these things into everyday training. So your technical trainings, the soft skill training's there. right? Like you can have hey guys, we're going to have a soft skills training. And I promise you're not going to win any popularity awards there. But you have a hard skill training and you work in soft skill information about that. Like, hey, here's how we lace up this panel. Anybody else think they would do it a different way? Okay, now you just allowed the element of change. Like, hey, we're not leaving until someone has a good idea here. Now you're bringing in the ability for people to see that they can engage into soft skill growth. So I would just say try to lace it in your hard skill trainings too. But if there is one of those soft skills that is ultra important to you, create a training around it.
Yeah, or create a culture value around it.
There you go.
Right? Like, hey, respect is a big deal. We respect people with our language, right?
I like it.
Hey, we show up on time.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a culture value if it's that big of a deal to you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like it shouldn't be looked down upon. Like you set the tone here. You are the culture carrier. That's why you're listening to this podcast or watching this podcast. So I think that about wraps it up on soft skills. Next episode, we're going to be back. This is a really great follow-up, I think, from this conversation. Next episode, we're going to be talking about, quote unquote, don't be so defensive and other culture killers. Can't wait to talk about that. It's going to be amazing. A reminder to find out more about us and how you can work with us at theculturebase.com. We'll be back with you next time on the Culture Base podcast. Have a great week.